It was cool.
Bam, we're live. You're home.
Just like that.
Did you sleep last night?
Yeah, I went to bed too late, but whatever. I do
Because
that sometimes everywhere, right?
it's 4 a.m. in Bora Bora, right? 3 hours
Yeah.
ahead of us.
Yeah.
Did you adjust to that time quickly?
But that's, like, you're traveling when your kid's saying something like, it's actually tomorrow, right?
When I first started working at CrossFit, it was late 2006, and I would see these lines like constantly varied movements executed at high intensity and work capacity across broad time and modal domains, and there were all of these I guess you could call them mantras, or what idiots would call marketing, but they were explanations in these there were explanations of what we were doing, and around the defining of the term fitness. And I remember asking Tony at one point, I think maybe you were on the thread, embarrassingly enough, in an email, had started making media for you guys. I'm like, who came up with all of these lines? And I think Tony, that was when G-Chat was big, and he's like, hey, dumb fuck, Greg wrote all that stuff. And I think about how long it took me to sort of grasp, not pick up the shiny objects and the lease rents model. Those types of things, for some reason, took me years and years to. I could understand them when you would say them to me, but to work them into my personality, these things had to be like worked into my personality and into the way that I viewed the world. And it took me a long time to do that. And I had to sit down with you at breakfast and hear these things reiterated over and over and over in different ways, coming at them from different angles, the purpose of them, the whys, the implications of thinking what was the CrossFit culture, which was this lifestyle culture. And I don't know if you heard this, Greg. I don't mean to just drop this on you in front of everyone, but so there were some of us who got to hear that stuff from you over and over and over, and it took a long time to get. And then I finally understood whenever we had new people why they couldn't get it. Like it was, and I don't mean this as a dig to Rosa, but it's what made Rosa. It was going to be impossible for him to ever catch up, because it could take someone 20 years to understand what you were saying, like to fully, even though it's not complicated, it's so against what we're taught as kids. To get ahead, to make money, to take shortcuts, to avoid discomfort, all of these things that CrossFit was the antithesis of. But there were a handful of us, a lot of us, there were 50 of us who got to hear it come out of your mouth over and over and over. And then we started, we got brainwashed into understanding that lifestyle, to view the world through a different lens, from a different angle. And yesterday, we got the news that Tyson Oldroyd was let go from CrossFit Inc. And I was thinking, wow. I was just thinking about how that's like a huge cultural loss for the company, because he's one of those people who got to be around you so much and understand all the facets of CrossFit that made CrossFit what CrossFit is. Would you say CrossFit's a movement? In context of where it is in history in context of where it is in history with diet and movement, you know what I mean? I would say it was more of a movement than anything else.
Sevi, I was prepared to discuss it in terms of being a cult, a movement, a fad.
Yeah.
I mean, you pick your fucking label, right?
Right.
I
find none of those offensive anymore, by the way. Yeah.
It had an existence, a reality, entirely independent of any label we could put on it.
Right. And we had, and it was a culture, and that's why when you go to the CrossFit Games and the security guard would be like, hey, I've never done a 3-day event with 20,000 people and there's not a fight. This is so weird. It was just sad to me for obviously Tyson has 3 kids and it sucks for him, but I was kind of sad for just all the different people because just in the space, I guess primarily affiliates, because he was on the media team. But that's one. I'm trying to think who's there who actually got to sit down at you with breakfast, lunch, and dinner for fucking 10 years, like he did or I did, who got to just drink from the fountain. And you obviously lived and breathed it. I mean, you didn't make small talk about anything else. It was just CrossFit all time. I don't know. I think it's massively significant that eventually there's going to be no one there. I know you used to always say that the trainers could pass on the kernel, the DNA of CrossFit, if everyone died and one L1 trainer lived. But I think that there's something special for the people who got to actually drink from, like, just sit down with you at breakfast and just chop it up with you. I know there is.
On a lot of fronts, it seems to me that some of the actions of the current ownership, have been just a lethal blow to the hot air balloon. Just a gaping hole. You just ripped a panel out of the whole thing, and it's sputtering. And I got a bunch of those, but one of those was the dissolution and removal of the affiliate team. Kathy Glassman, my sister, Sarah Lucas, all Beam, the whole crew.
Paula,
Alice, I'm leaving people out. It's not good. But they were amazing. And I could wake up in the morning and see that one of them, that was Sarah Lewis, was always
Sarah Lucas.
I know her well too. Sarah would work late at night, and the quality of the interaction, it reduced all kinds of confusion. They were miracle workers in terms of dealing with the affiliates, and it's something you could be proud of forever. And that'd be one of the last things I would let come apart. It had way more ramifications than anything that related to the games. Almost anything related to the training outside of the kernel of what we delivered initially.
Right.
That's the one thing that wasn't skin but meat. And who's there now for that? For the amount of legal work that we did, it's amazing how little paralegal work we had to do. And that's because it was done naturally, just in the course of events with the affiliate team. They head off legal problems all day and all night long. You actually can't do that, sir.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
And it's so much better to have Sarah Lucas or Kathy Glassman or Allison Autry telling you that that's probably not going to wash legally, and that could offend the mothership. Is better to hear it from them than from an attorney every time.
Mm-hmm. Right. When I thought it was bizarre when they got rid of Leif Edmondson. I really viewed him as guardian of the brand
on another level.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Leif was head of publishing. And so everything that we published forward facing, even stuff Greg wrote, it all funneled through Leif. And Leif took that job very seriously. And he would be like, hey, did you mean to say this? Hey, in this video, it does this. And he would consume everything before. And it would basically, he was just a guardian of the brand. And he would often say, Greg would not say that. Greg would not like that. And then we would run it up the flagpole to Greg. And Greg would be like, yeah, what the fuck is this crazy shit? I mean, I think Leif was 3,252,000 to 3,252,000. His record was perfect. And so they get rid of him. And obviously, ever since then, now we've accepted all the faux pas that come out forward facing. And I'm just tripping. I wonder if because you could teach someone, he's in the media. This is what I think. He's in the media department, right? And I think they want, I'm just guessing because of this Jenna Hawka CMO lady they've hired. I'm guessing that they're going to go more to way more towards marketing. So they're going to go to Facebook ads, Google ads. They're going to start thinking that they're going to sell this thing like a product, like widgets or M&Ms, right? But my thought is like,
what's the sale? Sell what?
I don't know. Get people. I don't know that maybe new products I haven't seen yet, but maybe get people into L1s. Maybe find the perfect price for affiliates. Find the perfect timing on like maybe they're gonna you have to renew the L1 every 5 years. Maybe they're gonna move it to every 3 years. Just whatever they can do to maximize the money coming in, right? Just to start. And so they're gonna start figuring all of that stuff out. With those people. But my thought is this: you could teach any monkey that in 6 months. So like if you wanted someone to be an expert on Facebook ads, you could teach Tyson to do that in 6 months, but you won't teach someone how to learn the culture. You can't teach someone how to learn the culture. It's going to take 10 years, and you're going to have people already there who already understand the culture. And that is actually why people pay their affiliate fees. The big picture is it falls under this bucket, as abstract as it is. They're paying the affiliate fees to be part of the culture, to be like, hey, it's their Armenian tag, it's their Ukrainian flag, it's their fucking Trump hat. And so you get rid of Tyson, and you're going to lose that whole, they would call it institutional knowledge, but it's more than that.
Yeah, Matt, on my departure, I left the remark with friends, and I know Sevi was around and heard this part of that cohort. But I think I just sold the Hells Angels to Costco. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do with it.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that CrossFit HQ now views their job as pushing people into the affiliates in a traditional sense, like Sevan's saying, with like marketing and stuff like that. And I think that's a mistake.
You know, Souza and Hiller were just talking about like, hey, if all they did was focus on making sure they kept the mantle as the #1 fitness methodology and health methodology in the world, all the other things would fall into place. And I couldn't agree more. Like they need to like really double down on just like, hey, protect the L1, emphasize the L1, make all media around the L1.
Is that what you want to hear as an investor?
Probably not.
I want to hear how I turn my 15 cents into $1, right?
Yeah.
But
I can help with that.
But hey, dude, if you go visit the Crown Jewels in the United Kingdom and you get there and they're covered in dust, you will give that a fucking 1 star. And I don't, that's where they're missing out. They're not, the training, all the training there needs to be continuously polished so that it presents well. And then and then of course people will do the games, and people will open affiliates, and people will get government military contracts. But if you neglect that, boy,
I don't know why I'm reminded of this, but I'm going to share it because
I love how you don't give a shit either. You're just like, yeah, what's up? See you, I'm driving out. See you in a couple of days, Sevi.
Yeah, I'll be there.
BSI May 9th, bitches.
What was this story I had?
Or you were sorry. You were going to say it reminds you of something.
It'll come back to me.
Anyway, sorry about that, Tyson. I know what it feels like to be fired. I was thinking that I think the first person fired in that first round, and now obviously I worked very closely with Tyson, very, very, very closely. I spoke to him every day, and now we're getting down to kind of the last dribble that remains there, the last like few people. Like all we need to do now is get rid of Dave and Nicole. And
Sebi, it's like those window climbers, those sticky things you throw, they click, 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 walk
yeah,
down the windows. Just like there's a couple left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that were just thrown a little bit higher up than the rest.
Good. This is a good question, I think. Fondal. Coach, Mr. Glassman, if you were a CrossFit investor today, what should management do specifically to grow the business?
My sense of it all is that it was a confederation of professional trainers where there was none otherwise. There was nothing in the NSCA certification being CSCS that wasn't suggested, none of that. And so to ask how to make money, like for whom? For the people that are the kind of the caretakers of the mark, make them more money. I never looked at the world that way. And as an investor, I don't see an avenue for dramatically increased revenue that doesn't look like fucking the brand up. I think for an investor, I think the brand is exciting to the extent that you can turn the crank and make money.
Right.
And to the extent that you can't, it's a lemon.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that from the investor's standpoint, I think they purchased a lemon.
If I made
it wasn't a fucking business.
if I made the
And
perfect,
just in the same sense, Sevi, what we were doing wasn't a business.
Sorry.
And the successful affiliate, Nadia Shatia in Belltown, Seattle, didn't see herself as a businesswoman, I don't think. She was a trainer with an enormous obligation to an extraordinary clientele, impacting them in untold ways. I mean, go on and on and on. But that's and sure, you get paid.
someone said to me the other day, would Greg ever buy it back? And I said, yeah, I'm sure if they like the Dave Portnoy thing, if they offered it to him for $1.
$1.
And I go, but hey, dude, don't think there wouldn't be huge changes if Greg took it back. And the person goes, what do you mean? I go, don't be surprised if he got rid of half the affiliates.
I think half would leave.
Yeah. Like he learned a lot from the first go. And yeah, it's
and maybe this is just part of getting old or something, but I haven't learned anything in the past 3 or 4 years that relates to that doesn't relate to probability theory and broken science, etc. But in terms of the way these things plan out, this all had an inevitability to me. It was after the sale that I got to like, wow, they have no idea what they bought. No idea. Imagine someone buys your car and you give them the keys and you've taken them for a test drive, and then they, you get the check, they get the keys, and they pop the trunk and get in and close it on themselves. Yeah, and start yelling about how it's driving. I mean, it's like, fuck.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
That is. It's a good.
You have the keys. You need to push the little button with the, like.
And along that same line, they're not asking the right questions for what's going wrong either, right? Because they're in the trunk and they're still looking for the ignition switch.
They're trying to claw their way into the back seats for like 3 years now.
And that's the culture. That's you have to understand the culture to understand where the front of the car is. Which brings us full circle to Tyson again.
They think their origins were in the DEI bullshit. They think that I was chased off because I wasn't DEI enough. And so let's get rid of this guy and we'll just we'll supply all the DEI he wasn't. Mm-hmm. And now what they have, it's not making money. It's still not making money for them. Man, the heart and soul of the thing seems to be in doubt. Joe
Westerland. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Joe.
Morning. I wonder how long it took him to realize that. Like, do you think it was a year in with Rosa that they realized, we might have a problem here? In terms of it acting like a different business, something different than they've ever had their hands wrapped around before.
I think with Rosa was something totally different. I think Rosa was, Van Gogh is a great artist who chopped off his ear, but you don't want your CEO chopping off his ear. I think Rosa just wasn't a fit. I think he was like I just don't think he's.
Do you think they put too much trust in him due to past successes? And they figured, he could do this with a data logic company. It must be easy to do it with this quote unquote fitness company, and then just backed him on it, only to realize, oh shit, we're locked in the trunk of this car.
I'm dying to know if the investors even watch this investment, or if it's just like Haley has some stock in like Coca-Cola that's been passed down from her great grandfather. You know what I mean? And we get a check in the mail every quarter for 2 pennies. You know what I mean? It says from Coca-Cola. It's in my. I wonder if it's like that from
your dividend check.
Yeah, it's so fun. It's fucking hilarious. We have these stack of 2-cent checks, and I wonder if CrossFit's like that for them. If it's just like,
yeah, except for it's not a stack of checks; it's a stack of bills.
Like they might not have any idea, right? The investors.
Well, you
It's
could
like,
tell due to the fact that they're trying to treat what I think is a symptom, which they think that if they put more people into affiliates, somehow that's going to create more value proposition for affiliates and therefore make a stronger business model, which
What
tells
if
you that
what
they
if
don't.
the new manner of operation provides more benefit to other investments than it does for the investor with regard to this particular entity?
say that. I don't understand that. Say that
Yeah, I
again.
know. It's rough. The
Oh, I see what
company
you're saying.
the company used to be a thorn in the side of a lot of powers.
Right.
That's
Mhm,
gone.
mhm.
And so there's a good chunk of economy that's sleeping easy because CrossFit's quit doing things smart or honest or brave.
PepsiCo spends $300 million a year on billboards just for Gatorade. So that's their marketing just for Gatorade, 300 million a year. So you're saying, hey, if you have the competitor to Gatorade, why not just spend $200 million to make them go away?
Look at the rate we were spreading, say, just through the army. The
Yeah.
notion that shit's poison, doing you no good. It's fundamentally isotonic. You're not getting electrolytes. And if you were, you couldn't stomach them. You wouldn't be able to hold them down. What you need is water, and you're going to get your sodium and electrolytes you need from the food you eat.
Mhm.
And that shit's just going to give you heart disease. And the Army was my biggest customer, and we've calculated may have been Gatorade's biggest customer, but still not a big customer in terms of percentage. The Army was a small sliver of what Gatorade's doing, and the Army was a small sliver of what CrossFit was doing. But here we were on the battlefield, will you, hating on one another. And the culture, the CrossFit culture, CrossFit ran through the military the way Falun Gong was through China's hierarchy. The need for eradication of that stemmed through the way it was running through the Red Army and the Communist Party. The idea of kindness, honesty, and perseverance really resonated with a downtrodden, enslaved people. What the fuck? Huh? Imagine that.